breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression. It's out for liberty. Breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts. We're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. Reclaiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is the political cage match where bold solutions win and bad ideas get wrecked. Tonight, the solutions sound simple, but what if they're just making it worse for everyone? From crisis politics to war to spending to the rules that never go away, we're exposing the illusion of solutions. Joining us tonight are three sharp political minds from Texas. Excuse me. Three sharp political minds from Texas representing the Libertarian Party of Texas. And we'll be live at their state convention in just over 2 weeks. Yes, I can't believe it's just 2 weeks. And they're ready to be tested. So everybody get ready because tonight you decide who is smarter than a politician. Joining us for, I think, the third time, he is the vice chair of the Libertarian Party. That's lp.org. He's also a candidate for vice chair of LP Texas. That website is paul4texas.darr.org. And you can follow him on X at Paul_Darr. And it is the great Paul Darr. How are you tonight, buddy?
Doing awesome. Glad to be on a pretty okay show like this.
Yeah, that's your famous quote that's lived in infamy.
Yes.
Tell everybody what's going on with you and what's going on with the convention in Texas.
Ticket sales just closed last night, but you can still come on out. There's some great free stuff on Friday there. So hopefully people head on out and see us there also. Even those who might not have decided to be a delegate if they didn't have the time for the whole weekend. Great to see you out there. Would love to see you out there for the Texas convention. And we're really cooking on getting stuff together for national convention too. So plenty of conventions. And for all those states out there, there's like 7 conventions going on this weekend. Crazy time for libertarians getting together, having a fun time, talking liberty and all that.
Yeah, I don't think I told you, Paul, but you guys inspired me, you and Steven and all the amazing people out there doing work. So I am a delegate from Florida for the first time ever. So I will be a delegate this time.
I'll be happy to see you out there. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. So you seemed really excited there for like a really awkward period of time, but
okay.
No, I was really inspired about what you guys are doing. So I'm willing to sit there. I've been looking up in the dictionary what the word "the" means and where it should go in a sentence. I think I'm ready. So, all right. Also joining us for the first time ever, Jessi Cowart. She is a candidate for the Texas State House. That is District 15. Her website is cowartfortexas.com. You can find her on X at Jessi Cowart TX on X. I did that really smoothly. Welcome to the show, Jessi. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
And tell everybody what you're up to in your campaign.
Yeah, so I am running for Texas State House District 15. That is the southern part of Montgomery County. So, for those of you not familiar with Texas geography, that is a northern suburb of the Houston area, Houston metro area. So, we have been hard at work. We have raised just over $16,000 over the course of the campaign. And with the primaries behind us, we are really hitting the ground running and looking to make a big splash in November.
That's awesome. Good luck to you, and congratulations on running. Excited
Thanks.
to see what you do.
Appreciate it.
Also joining us, Nathan Polsky. He is a candidate for Lamar County Commissioner. That's Precinct 2. You can find his campaign website at nathanforliberty.com. He is on X at Polsky for Lamar, but you probably know him better as Texas and Cap, as we all do. How are you tonight, Nate?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, man. Tell everybody what you're up to and about the campaign.
So campaign's going good so far. We've not raised nearly what Jessi has, but it's a much smaller race. I'm almost about $2,000. About to start putting out campaign signs. I've been meeting with folks locally out here. For anybody who doesn't know where Lamar County is, it's Paris, Texas. So we are right on the border of Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay, great. And tell us about the convention coming up. You were instrumental in getting us there, which we really appreciate. Tell us what you got going on there.
Yeah, so to tail into what Paul was talking about earlier for our Friday event, you're going to be out there doing one of our candidate interviews. We're also going to have a community event. We're going to have axe throwing. We're going to have jelly ball. We're going to have some tic-tac-toe and some other types of carnival games. That's all free for anybody who wants to come out, throw as many axes as you want, shoot as many jelly balls as you want. We'll have food and beverages that you can purchase from the hotel. We're going to have some great speakers. We're going to have Dr. Mary Ruart, who's going to be out there as well. And just a whole lot of fun community stuff on Friday. And then we've got, of course, got all the events on Saturday and Sunday. Plus, the business meeting, we kind of have to have that one.
Yeah. I think putting me with the carnival axe was your smartest move. I'll be right at home there. Excellent. Thanks for joining us. And of course, joining us as always, our producer, the lovely Terry Batts. How are you tonight, Terry?
I'm great, and I am excited for this show. The chat is already hopping, and this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's go, you guys. Thank you, chat, for what you're doing.
Awesome. And like we mentioned, there are a bunch of state conventions going on this weekend. We will be in North Carolina this weekend. We're so excited. The show is Friday, 8:30 p.m. We'll be streaming it live as well, but we'll be live on site at the North Carolina Convention in Lake Lure. That's going to be awesome. And then as you see up here, we'll be at Texas, April 10th through 12th. Then we're going straight from there to Colorado, April 17th through 18th. And then we will be on the main stage at the National Convention in Grand Rapids, May 21st through 25th. We're super excited about that. We're super excited about all of them. And if you haven't done your state convention yet, get involved. You can come meet fellow freedom lovers, watch the show live, and see contestants put to the test. And if you want real change, join your state party, become a delegate, help shape the national convention. Don't just talk about liberty, live it. All right. And real quick, I want to say Tuesday night show is sponsored by Zoom. If you believe adults should be free to explore their own consciousness and you're looking for a modern, precision-dosed psychedelic experience, check out zoomtrip.com. That's XUMTRIP.com and see what they're building over there. That's the great Ovens O'Brien. We really appreciate her sponsoring the show. And thank you to our subscribers. We're up to 21. That's awesome, everybody. As you can see, we're doing a lot, so we really appreciate it. Terry, Amity, Ocean Blue, Shirley, Dr. Blaine, Lisa, Dan, Chris, Dave, Rob Yates, who we'll see in North Carolina this weekend, is running for chair of the party. Papa B, Lars Mapstead, who's running in California, Jay, Anarchist Chef, Heather, and then we've got the great Casey Rasmussen, who does the They Both Suck podcast semi-annually on Wednesdays. And we've got Jake Day, who does the If by Whiskey show Jacob Winograd that does Biblical Anarchy, Phil Rain with LP Alliance, and we've got Brent Freeman who does the spaced on his name. It's his clothing line is Anarcho Syndicate, and then he's got his podcast. We've got Grumpy Gnome who just did a 3 Shots In show last night, and our newest subscriber Kay, who is 3 Stand for Truth. We appreciate you all. And if you want to subscribe to us on X, you can do so. It is your backstage pass. And if you want to sponsor us, studio@freedomuncut.com. All right. Let's jump into the chat and say hi. See who's here. See if my voice holds up. Oh, speaking of podcast, Mike Vidco's here from the Vidco Verdict. What's up, buddy? Lancaster Libertarian's here. Amity's given 200 to Paul because he thinks the show is just okay. Yeah, that's true. Shirley's here. What's up, Shirley? Best intro ever. Don't take any of Simmons' advice. Simon's advice. Okay. Travis is here. Check out Travis's show too. What's up, y'all? The great Ryan Woodcraft of the historic win in El Paso. Let's go LP Texas for the win. Grumpy Gnome's here. There's Rob Yates. 100 to Paul if he flips his desk again. That would be awesome. 100 to Paul for calling the show pretty okay. Texas will be fun. Oh yeah, Casey's gonna come too. Dangerous News is here. I think that's Lars. What's up? 5,000 points to free for being a delegate. Awesome. That's a lot of points. Waz is here. What's up, Waz? Let's go. Paul Darr is base. That's true. 82 to Paul for making free be a delegate. Well, technically it was Amity that made me be a delegate, but 200 to Jessi for running. Absolutely. 200 to Paul for inspiring free to be a delegate. Brent's here. What's up, Brent? 100 to any contestant every time they mention me. Oh, please. That would make my life so hard. 100 to Nate, but we require 15 pieces of flair at Tchotchkes. 100 to everyone for being libertarian. That's base. 100 to Paul for cheering Waffle House Fight Club. Aerosmith fan is here. 500 to Nate if he eats a piece of meat live on the stream. That'd be awesome. I'm in for that. I can read that. Spaz is here. Jeff Miller from Texas here. I know these people. What's up, Jeff? All right. Cool. Let's jump into it here. Welcome again to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? Please share this out. We've been having problems with the algorithm. We think it's because we're anti-war or maybe because of the gold AK the other day. There's something going on. You can find me on X. I am at Smarter Game Show. Terry is Bats T76. Amity and Casey are helping behind the scenes. She is Amity Lead 13. He is American versus Gov. You can still donate to the You Are the Power fundraiser. I saw Lars in the chat. He is doubling donations, and we have another person that's doubling donations, which if my math is right, it's like tripling donations. That's through the end of the month. You can do that at youarethepower.net/donate. Last I heard, we raised over 15 grand, so keep it coming, people. It's an amazing cause, doing real libertarian stuff. You can get our swag at freedomsuperstore.com. It's twice on the screen there. I just noticed for the first time ever. And all right, so since Trump ruined peace prizes, the grand prize tonight is the Are You Smarter Than a Peace Prize. Also on the prize shelf, we have Mike Johnson's signature cologne Swamp Ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead Teddy Bear. We have the home edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician, an assortment of amazing libertarian bobbleheads, including Justin Amash and many others. We also have the board game, Neoconopoly. If you want to teach your kids about global domination, bombing countries, stealing their wealth, this is the game for you. We were so inspired by what's going on at the airports, and I'm scared about the flight I'm about to get on, that we made a new TSA training kit. You can see it's got the rubber gloves. It's got an honorary community college diploma, and it's got a grow practice growing replica. And so if you want to be a TSA agent, that's for you. We also, who needs a piggy bank when you have a central bank? We have the Dollar Destroyer. You can destroy dollars in your own home. And first time ever, we put a prize up. Paul, you could win your own prize. Paul made this. This is the Trump Golden Diapers. This is now on the prize shelf. Thank you for doing that, Paul. And of course, we have the Trump Nativity set. We can't get rid of this piece of crap. It's almost April. Somebody needs to take this away. And of course, we have the Killdozer, because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me and Casey do. Also wanted to mention, at the Libertarian Convention in North Carolina this weekend, on Saturday night at midnight, there is a polar plunge. You can go to lpnc.org and donate to see me or Amity or Rob or several others jump into the outdoor pool at midnight. Last I heard, it was 40 degrees. You have to raise $100 for me to jump in. It's only at $80 right now. So please also don't donate if you're thinking about donating. So I think Terry's saying she donated. Oh my God. All right. So donate for Amity. I'm changing that to donate for Amity. Also, Amity and I will be at the Libertarian Social at the Moose Lodge tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. in Port Charlotte, Florida, if you want to come by. All right. Rules are, I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. The rules are, you have one debate, one filibuster. You can veto an answer, tariff an answer, redistribute an answer, and you start off with negative 500 points because the government gets paid first. Here's how scoring works. The chat controls the score, so you can give or take up to 100 points from contestants. And because I am the government and I believe in crony capitalism, subscribers can give or take up to 200 points because they paid me, so they matter more. Nuking a score. Any former contestant can nuke a score, taking it down by 1,000 points. The twist is contestants can only be nuked one time, and it has to be for a good reason. All right. Lightning round. I will put Terry in the back. She handles the scores and the chat. Make her life extremely difficult. Thank you, Terry. All right, Paul. First question is to you. The category is the quick fix trap. Do quick government fixes usually make long-term problems worse?
Of course, they only fix the symptoms out there. They don't fix the root cause, because government is the root cause, and it can't fix itself like that. So there are no quick fixes.
I agree. Jessi, to you, the question is passing something fast usually more dangerous than doing nothing at all?
Absolutely. Anytime the government is trying to get involved in something, especially if they're trying to do it expediently, they are more than likely violating constitutional rights. So yes, we do not want them to try to do anything overly quick.
Don't do anything, and especially don't do it quickly. I agree.
Yeah.
Nate, to you, are most solutions really just delaying consequences?
Yeah. I mean, anything that the government wants to do is going to delay something.
I agree. All right, Paul, back to you. The category is crisis sells everything. The question is, do politicians exaggerate crises to expand their power?
Of course they do. And we see that every time somebody rises to power. They'll even betray the principles they ran for. In the case of President Trump here, expanding on every crisis he can, manufacturing crisis just to expand his power. So they'll expand power every step they can.
All right. Jessi, to you, do crises make voters accept policies they normally would reject?
Absolutely. I think we saw that with COVID, right? I mean, anyone would be flipping desk like Paul if they were told to stay home. But whenever you have a controversy and you're told that, your life and your family's life is at risk and everything, people tend to accept things that they wouldn't ever tolerate from the state in any normal situation. So yeah, it absolutely does. And it's a real problem. We should not let the government legislate based on emergency, because then that incentivizes them to always dictate an emergency.
I agree. Nate, to you, is fear the most effective political tool in America today?
Absolutely. Let's just look at the Patriot Act. Let's look at every time Iran is 2 weeks away from nuclear warheads. The government does it all the time, and it keeps people coming back.
Totally agree. Paul, back to you. The category is safety justifies power. Does safety get used as an excuse to limit freedom?
All the time. We see this often today as security is used as the excuse to increasingly encroach on our freedoms, mostly in digital sense. You'll see that from spying on us and tracking us all across the internet. And then you're seeing this oftentimes in person now, is AI cameras allow for tracking us everywhere, all in the name of safety and safety of this and that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Jessi, to you, should freedom ever be traded for security in a free society?
No, never, never, and never. The reason that we have a free society is because we do not have exceptions like that as far as security. My freedom does not stop where your sense of security begins. So definitely.
I agree. Nate, to you, do people overestimate government's ability to keep them safe?
Yes, police are not required to protect and serve, regardless of what they keep telling you. The Supreme Court says otherwise.
I agree. Paul, back to you. The category is war always the answer? Has military intervention made America safer over the last 20 years?
I love this one because it has not. I have personal experience in that, having been a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, and personally seeing when we're told that we're going to be over there helping people, and just seeing countries fall into even more chaos than they could even been before. We've seen this lesson enough times that wars are there to kill people, and it's not an effective tool for building countries. And we should not be using conflict to solve any problem.
I agree. All right, Jessi, to you. Should Congress be required to formally declare war every time troops are deployed?
Yes, Congress has abdicated its responsibility for declaring war ages ago. We have not had a real declaration of war since World War II, and now we have just a cycle of continuous abuse of power, and it's only getting worse. And then we have misinterpretations of the War Powers Resolution. We need to hold Congress accountable for doing their jobs.
Absolutely. Nate, to you. Do foreign wars create more enemies than they eliminate?
It's always going to create more enemies. The blowback that the United States receives every time we decide to go and intervene in another country is a prime example.
Totally. All right. Paul, back to you. Is the national security state too large to ever shrink on its own?
And there's no incentive for them to. Continuing growing budgets incentivize them to continually grow, and needing a need for themselves and job protection. There's all so many incentives for them to continue growing that it would take a concerted effort to decrease the national security state.
Absolutely. Unfortunately. Jessi, to you. Should the U.S. stop funding foreign conflicts entirely?
Be a lot cooler if they did. We've got 750 military bases plus all over the world, and it's not making us any safer. Whenever we are investing in things like regime change or even funding ammunitions, we're putting ourselves in risk and putting our neutrality on the back burner and putting ourselves at risk. So yeah, we should not be in the business of funding or putting boots in the ground in other foreign conflicts.
I agree. All right, Nate, to you. Do politicians face enough consequences for failed wars?
No. Again, since the last official war was World War II, abdicating all that power to the president, to the executive branch, they need to be held accountable.
100%. All right, we have reached a score break. Enter your scores in the chat if you have not done so already. Let's check out the chat. It is hopping. Lars says, excellent panel tonight. Thanks, Lars. 151 to Jessi for 2 forearm tattoos. There you go. Points to Terry for putting up with the chat. 100%. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Waz. Welcome, Waz. 99 to Paul for the golden diapers. Yeah, that sounds weird out of context, but totally true. Joe Hanoush is here. Joe Hanoush does an amazing job for the LP. 100 points to the LP candidates. Oh, yeah, that reminds me, Nate didn't mention we'll also have a dunk booth at the Midway in Abilene. That's awesome.
Yep.
Murray Rothbard's here. That's kind of incredible. Welcome, Murray. We're the only ones that get dignitaries from the grave to come on our show. 100 to anyone without a beard. I believe that would just be Jessi. 100 to Jessi, no quick fixes. What's up, Liberty Shamrocker? Rob, DM me the link. I'll get free in the water. Oh, God help us. 100 for gridlock. 100 to Paul, it always expands power. 100 to Paul, government manufactures crises. -7 to Jessi for the static speak. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a time life operator sound going on there with the headset.
Oh, no.
Kay's here. What's up, Kay? 100 to Jessi for reminding us of the COVID tyranny. 100 to Nathan. Iran has been 2 weeks away from a nuke for 40 years. Absolutely true. 208 for being based friend on X. 100 to Nate. Patriot Act example. 100 to Jessi. Never, never, and also never. 200 to Jessi. Freedom doesn't stop where your security begins. 200 Jessi. My freedom doesn't stop where your sense of security begins. 208. Cops aren't required to protect and serve. 200 to Paul. If that's a Joe Jorgensen bobblehead in the background. It is. We're on the board with the Joe Jorgensen bobblehead. That's excellent. Oh, we're going to have to go full screen for this. Let's see. Oh, that's awesome. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Excellent. That may make a promo. That's pretty good. 100 to Jess for the hoop earrings. Oh, we're doing fashion now. 208 blowback is a bitch. 108 for blowback. 100 to Paul for having a head that doubles as a security mirror. Points to Nathan. Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, 2005. They're not required to protect you at all unless you're in their custody. And then they probably won't do it anyways, Travis. 200 to Jessi would be a lot cooler if we stopped funding foreign wars. 100 to Jess for starring in Tangled. Great movie. That must be a Disney reference or something.
Hair.
Oh, okay. Dan's here. What's up, Dan? -53 to Paul. Stars scored while he was talking. They must be playing the Devils or something. 200 Jessi, quick, confident responses, and 17 each just to make Terry's job harder. That's awesome. Yeah, we appreciate that. And let's check the scoreboard. Lots going on here. Paul in the lead, 1178. Jessi, 1161. Ooh, it's close. Nathan, 917. Nathan, you're in third place so far. What do you think?
I'm always in third place. I'm a libertarian.
That's true. It's kind of our catbird seat. Jessi, second place. How are you feeling?
Feeling all right. Feeling good.
Excellent. And Paul, you're on the record with gushing recommendations of the show. How are you feeling?
For a pretty all right show, this is a lot more fun than anyone could imagine.
Excellent. All right. Let's jump back into it. Paul, the question is to you. The category is the border crackdown machine. Does aggressive immigration enforcement violate civil liberties?
Yes, and we can see that right now. Oftentimes they're going to sweep up citizens among that, and that's an easy one that most people should be able to agree with, a violation of civil liberty rights. And as we look at civil liberties, they apply to everyone. So all those violations are a violation against everyone. People should be treated with human respect and regards to their treatment there.
All right. Let's see. Somebody in the comments said 100 to whoever burped. I think that was a mug straw. That was the burp noise. All right. Jessi, to you. Should ICE have the authority to operate without local consent?
If they have a judicial warrant, that's one thing, but these administrative warrants that they've been touting as giving them authority to go in and do anything are absolutely absurd. I mean, I could rip it up like a piece of paper and be well within my rights. I should be cooperating with the local governments to the extent that they are actually going after violent criminals who need to be rounded up and not violating the liberties of nonviolent peoples. But yeah, that they should absolutely have to have a judicial warrant, and they should be cooperating with the local governments.
Nate, to you, are border policies more about politics than solutions?
Border policies change as often as I change my underwear. It's a very complicated discussion, and would probably take the entire show to go through all of that.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, Paul, back to you. The category is reform or just more control. Does most reform simply expand bureaucracy?
Does reform simply expand bureaucracy? It depends on it. I'm going to have to use some nuance on that one, I guess. So there are effective reforms that can happen where things can actually be pulled back. And that's normally going to be led by local citizens pulling back and forcing the government to do actual reforms. And that does occasionally happen. I've helped to make that happen on a local level, a real level at different times in the past. And that can happen. But oftentimes, other reforms that are led by bureaucrats out there are just there to further entrench themselves and to hide from the real issues. So, yeah, depends who leads that reform.
Yeah, that's why I put the quotes around it, because we don't really ever get real reform. So, Jessi, to you. Is real reform possible without reducing government power?
I can't think of an example off the top of my head. As far as reform goes, I tend to agree with what Paul said. Reform is typically an expansion of government. It's treating the symptom and not the root cause. So while it may be possible, I tend to think likely not. Because if we are actually doing true reform, it's probably going to be more in the way of abolishment or elimination, shrinking government rather than expanding it to, try to put a Band-Aid over something.
I agree. Nate, to you. Does reform usually create new unintended consequences?
Yeah, until we're actually abolishing things, reforming is just going to add new agencies, new departments. It kicks the can down the road and never really fixes the underlying problem.
I agree. All right, Paul, back to you. The category is spend now, pay forever. Does federal spending create more long-term problems than it solves?
Yeah, of course it does. Federal spending is like if we were just using our credit cards on your daily functions in your home and just ever expanding that and then using another credit card to expand upon that later. The government does not, the monetary policy there is going to end in disaster, and all of us know that.
Yep, absolutely true. Jessi, to you. Should balanced budgets be mandatory in normal times?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially whenever we're in a place where we are, running now approaching $40 trillion in debt. It's a generational problem. It's not even something that our kids are going to have to worry about. It's our grandkids, our great grandkids. It's like Nate was saying earlier, kicking the can down the road, and it's only going to compound and become even more unmanageable. So yes, balanced budgets should be essential if there is going to be a bill to try to expand something or increase spending. We need to require that there is a converse bill that is saying where we are going to cut to make that to make room for that budget. So yeah. No more spending. We need to cut it and or slice it with something else.
I agree. Nate, to you. Does printing money hide the consequences of bad policies?
Printing money hides the consequences of a lot of things. Bad policies is going to be one of them. We've got the welfare policy. We've got foreign aid. And if we just keep printing money and never looking to pay it off, then yeah, it's just going to be bad for everybody.
I agree. Paul, back to you. The category is regulate first, ask questions later. Does over-regulation slow economic growth?
Yes, of course it does. The market is the best regulator out there of people making their voluntary choices of what to purchase, what to not, to judge for themselves on safety. Having those things are the best way we can have regulation out there. Government mandated regulation is slow to react and just gets in the way of everything.
for sure. Jessi, to you, are most regulations written by the industries they regulate?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think that there's been a bill that's been passed regarding, pharmaceuticals that wasn't written by pharma or anything with the financial system that wasn't written by the financial lobby. It's a material problem. I think that we need to get back to having single issue bills, most of all, and then we need to understand the origin of said bills and make sure that whenever we are passing these things that they are being scrutinized. They need to be really evaluated in addition to based on who is actually writing and presenting those bills.
Totally agree. Nate, to you, does regulation create more problems than it solves?
Absolutely. All government regulations and our ANCAP. So all government regulations need to go away. Completely 100% regulations, zoning regulations, library regulations, medical regulations, they all need to go. They infringe on businesses growing, new industries coming into play. As mentioned before, they're written by the powerhouses in those industries already to prevent competition. So with regulations, competition ceases to exist and we stagnate.
Definitely. Paul, to you, category is tariffs that backfire. Do tariffs hurt American consumers more than foreign competitors?
Tariffs are taxes on Americans. So of course they're going to impact us more. Trump tries to sell that as it's all going to be absorbed by the foreign competitor when that cost is going to be passed right on to us. And many times when industries don't have a time to react. So the current use of tariffs is a punishment upon people in trying to shape the market in a command and control way, which is going to impact things on multiple levels.
Definitely. Jessi, to you, should the U.S. eliminate tariffs entirely?
Yeah, I can't think of a really good reason for tariffs to be enacted. Like Paul said, they are taxes on the American people. They are not an effective means of they're. I would say they're. I wanted to say they're not an effective means of regulating the market, but you shouldn't be regulating the market anyway. What they do is they disrupt the market, and for that reason, we should not have tariffs. We should have the market work the way that it should in a free way.
I agree. Nate, to you, do tariffs protect jobs or delay inevitable changes?
Do they protect jobs? No. Do they? What was the second part of that?
Delay inevitable change.
Delay inevitable change. They can, but that's not necessarily a good thing. So the free market says that wherever the labor is cheap, wherever it's cheaper to produce goods, that has a downstream effect where it's cheaper for the consumer. Tariffs completely throws that out of focus, and either eliminates entire industries, causes prices to stay up, and Americans, if they are going to rely on the tariffs to prevent competition, aren't going to be hiring more people because it costs a lot more money to employ people in the US than it does, say, China or Taiwan or wherever else it is. And those that do bring jobs back here are just going to automate everything. So it doesn't really help anybody. It just delays the inevitable change there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I read that 2/3 of the manufacturing jobs will be automated by the time these factories are up and running. So great.
That's probably a low number too.
That's I would take the over. I'm with you. Paul, to you. Oh no, wait. Enter your scores in the chat if you have not done so already. The chat is flying here. Let's see what's going on. Williams here, big Texas. Howdy, y'all. That was the burp noise from earlier. Was the straw right there? That was the straw. The 100 to Nate. Their pity points. Oh boy. 200 pity points to Nate for being in third place. This might work out in your favor here. 100 to Jessi for being married to Bobby. That's my dude. I hope that's right. I hope you didn't get that wrong. So
That's
wrong
right.
Person All right. 108th for third place libertarian joke. That was excellent. Marcus Matthews from the Black Powder Podcast is here. Oh, wait, I just said something nice about him, and it's minus 100 to me. Screw you, Marcus. 200 to Jessi, get a warrant. Minus 200 to Paul for nuance. Yeah, we're against that. 100 to Paul for reminding me that I haven't gone bowling in a while. 100 to Jess for running for a district next to mine that is 260 miles long. Is that right?
I think so.
Maybe
They're thinking of like congressional district 15 instead of state house district 15.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That sounded like a lot even for Texas. 200 to all three for dressing so nicely for the show, a rarity in libertarian space. I'm classing it up with my taxation is theft shirt. 100 to the candidate that says Viva Texit. Any takers?
Viva Texit.
Viva Texit.
Oh, all right. Nate beat Jessi to it. 200 to Paul, federal spending will end in disaster. 50 to Paul for the G.I. Joe reference in the chat. I missed that. 100 to Paul for his gold-plated cabinets in the background that he borrowed from Trump's closet. Did Jessi say kick the kid down the road? I can work with that. 100. Oh, boy. Jaden's here. Welcome, Jaden. Abolish political parties. I'm with you there. 100 to Nathan. Money printer go burr. 100 to Nathan. Money bad. 76 to Nate for the plaid suit. 100 to Nate for being a dapper Dan man. 91 to Paul. The market is indeed the best regulator out there. I fixed that for you. 200 to Paul. Regulation gets in the way of everything. 100 to Jessi for the single issue bills. 100 to Nate because he can kick a can. Chris is behind. Welcome, Chris. You're welcome to be behind as well. 100 to Nate for the emergency stuffed animals. Rather have it than not need it than not have it. Yeah. Better than an AK, we found out on the You Are the Power show. 92 to Paul, tariffs or taxes on Americans. 100 to Paul, tariffs or taxes on Americans. 100 to Jess for the high deficit reference. I went to Congress and I got high. There we go. Little Afro Man reference. 100 to Paul, tariffs function as taxes to Americans. 100 to Jess for hiding what I assume is a drug den in the background from the feds. That's a smart move. 100 to Paul for good reason. I just forgot his answer. Free markets are fast and efficient. Tariffs are slow and expensive. 100%. 100 to Nathan for his pristine white door. 100 to Jess. I'd give her more points, but the government free limits me. That's 100% true, William. Or you could pay up and be a subscriber. Just saying. 199 to Nathan. Nice suit. 100 to Nate. Why? I'll tell you later. 100 to everyone for messing with Texas. And minus 100 from Paul. He didn't say Viva Texit. Oh, all right. Let's see where we're at score-wise here.
Letting everybody else have a chance to get some more points.
There we go.
Got to be a
But
gentleman.
you still kept the lead. You still kept the lead. 25-11 to you. Nate just behind 24-92. And Jessi just behind that, 23-61. So we've got a close race. Keep the scores coming. Share this out again if you don't mind. We're over 1,000 now, which is excellent. Appreciate everybody that shared it out. All right, back to you, Paul. Oh, and this category is brought to you by Zoom Beyond Mushrooms. That's zoomtrip.com, XUMTRIP.com. And the category is Prohibition Creates Crime. Question is, should all drugs be legalized, Paul?
Yes, they should be. I was just, in fact, talking to somebody that was, a staunch churchgoer and why he was struggling with that. He's a Republican thinking of switching over to being a libertarian and asked me specifically about drugs. And I explained to him that drugs aren't something that you solve through the criminal justice system. If somebody actually does have an addiction, have a problem with it, it's a medical issue. And it should be taken care of between that individual and a medical provider. Throwing somebody in prison is not going to help their situation in any extent. So for people that do struggle with it, that is the help they need. They don't need to be thrown into prison over it. And drugs are just creating more individuals that are criminals out there, when there are some people that recreationally choose to use it, and it's their body, their choice to be able to consume what they wish in those instances. And for others that choose not to, that is their choice too. We're all sovereign over our own bodies.
Yeah, I love the meme. Congratulations to drugs for winning the war on drugs. All right, Jessi, to you. Did banning drugs create more crime than it prevented?
Absolutely. That's basically why we have cartels and black markets. So, yeah, I think what Paul said hits the nail right on the head. The it's not only that it needs to be legalized because of the medical aspect of it and everything, but basically we are creating a black market wherein there are going to be people who are trying to take advantage of that and operate in a violent way, um, to make sure that they have that product on the streets. If that was deregulated and legalized, we would not see nearly as much violence as we are now.
I totally agree. Although I'm in favor of black markets. Nate, to you, does prohibition empower cartels and black markets?
Absolutely, it does. And I'm going to steal the question that you threw at Paul for legalization and disagree with it and state that legalization comes with regulation. And we just discussed regulation being a bad thing. So not only should they not be illegal, they should just be completely ignored altogether. The best markets for drugs will be black markets, as you said, and just no regulations, but hold people accountable. So yeah.
Totally agree. Paul, back to you. The category is the welfare dependency loop. Do welfare programs trap people into long-term dependency?
Welfare is designed to just give people enough to survive, but not to thrive and get out of the system. So it is designed to keep people trapped into that system of entitlements there. If they start to get beyond that and incentivize them to stay below it, just getting above where they lose their benefits but aren't able to survive, just the way that is set up. And then by having that out there, it stops the ability of others that might come forward and to be able to help and do other charities. They do exist out there, but people look at that welfare being out there and don't realize that private welfare, private charity, is oftentimes a more compassionate way and often works towards getting a person out of a difficult situation there. And there's voluntary ways that we can reach and help other people that does not keep them trapped in the system that the welfare does.
Totally agree. All right, Jessi, to you. Should welfare be handled at the local level instead of federal?
Welfare should be handled at the private level rather than the government level. But to the extent that it is handled in the government at all, which I would disagree with, I do think that it should be done locally. I would like to see that done with local private charity, because that is where you understand your community whenever you're operating at the local level. You understand who has the need, you understand the distribution and the supply chains. Everything should be decentralized to the extent that it can, including any kind of charity.
Absolutely. Nate, to you, are private solutions more effective than government welfare?
Absolutely, 100% all the time. The government should have no responsibility for providing welfare to individuals. It just makes people reliant and dependent on the state. Private institutions get to circumvent a lot of the administrative costs that go from using tax dollars to provide welfare.
Absolutely. All right, Paul, back to you. The category is gun control or power control. Do gun laws primarily affect law-abiding citizens?
Well, yes, because criminals don't care. They're already breaking the law. So are they going to respect gun laws out there? I'm a gun owner myself. I own several different firearms, and I always have to research whenever I'm traveling somewhere to make sure I don't accidentally break some law in another state if I'm traveling out of state, and to be aware of those instances. So the gun control laws are about control. It's not about safety for others.
Totally agree. Jessi, to you. Should states decide their own gun laws without federal interference?
Yes, again, with decentralization, that anything should be decided at the state level. But whenever I don't even like talking about gun laws, because the right to defend yourself is an inherent right. So one of the things that we as libertarians always like to educate people about is that it's not the Second Amendment of the Constitution that gives you a right to carry the firearm. You have a, if you want to call it a God-given right, a natural right, what have you, to defend yourself. So I am in favor of decentralization so far as all of that goes, but I believe that it shouldn't be regulated at all.
I agree with you. It was kind of a trick question. I do that sometimes. Nate, to you, should individuals be responsible for their own protection?
Absolutely. The Second Amendment says you have the right to defend yourself however you want to do so. And there should be no laws that restrict that. Every individual should be able to protect themselves. If they don't want to, if they fear that, they don't want to hold a gun, they don't want to, accidentally shoot somebody, if they want to offload that to somebody else, that should be their right to, as well. But the government shouldn't be the ones doing that. Use a private contractor, use a neighbor, use whatever else. Just there's no government solution for that. Use private, local solutions.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Paul, back to you. The category is taxing you out of your home. Does rising taxation contribute to the housing crisis?
Yes, and this would be specifically for property taxes. All the time we hear of the rising property taxes, removing senior citizens from their home due to the costs associated with that, and just people in general that can run on tough times and that can even own that piece of property and be removed from it due to rising taxation there. So those taxes need to be reduced all the way down to nothing. But that's where we are now.
I hear Nate laughing at the chat. All right.
Sorry, I'll mute.
I was laughing too. All right. Jessi, to you. Should property taxes be eliminated?
Absolutely. Here in Texas, property taxes is really out of control. I think we're like 7th highest in the nation. And a lot of it is being driven by school districts. So property taxes absolutely do need to be eliminated. But the question I always hear is, well, then how will we pay for X, Y, Z? What we see in Texas is that every couple of years, the legislature rolls out and they want to push out these homestead exemptions. So, we're going to raise the exemption for the elderly and disabled, which the average taxpayer doesn't understand is not eliminating that tax burden. It's just transitioning that tax burden to other taxpayers. So what I would like to see is property tax elimination and moving it in that direction with compression, using the $24 billion budget surplus that we have in Texas to start buying down those school district M&O taxes, really start applying some compression and just do away with the exemptions altogether. And then eventually we can move to something that's more, sales tax related, that's a lot more transparent to the taxpayer.
That sounds really sensible. I like it. Nate, to you. Are local governments too dependent on property taxes?
Absolutely. Running for county commissioner, I've been looking at the existing budget. I ran for city council before, so I got well informed about their budgets. 75% plus of the revenue for cities, for counties, for school boards comes from property taxes. That also means that their spending is going to be higher. So yes, a lot of it does rely too heavily on that.
I agree. Paul, to you, the category is policing for profit. Should civil asset forfeiture be abolished?
Should theft be abolished? Yes, legalized theft should be abolished.
I like it. The rephrase, I like it. Jessi, to you. Should a conviction be required before property is taken?
Yes, absolutely. So, that's the difference between criminal asset forfeiture and civil asset forfeiture. There should never be any taking of property unless there is an actual criminal conviction, and only then to be paid in restitution to the victims.
I agree. Nate, to you, is forfeiture more about revenue than justice?
It's always about revenue. The government wants more money, and they're going to find avenues to do so. Anytime civil asset forfeiture is used, they will find something, some sort of infraction to take in the additional revenue and steal from you.
I agree. Paul, back to you. The category is security that costs freedom. Has surveillance gone too far in the name of security?
Do we actually get any security for all the surveillance that goes on? I'm not even convinced of that in most instances. So yes, surveillance has gone beyond anything we would have imagined. I remember first becoming a libertarian over 20 years ago, and some of the things we discussed then as like future sci-fi dystopian ideas are reality now in some ways within our rights. And we're already living that dystopian future now with surveillance.
Yeah, I like the story about the grandma that got put in jail for a month in a state that she'd never been in because of facial recognition. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Jessi, to you. Should warrantless surveillance be banned?
Yes. I don't even know how to expand on that. Just yes, absolutely. The flock cameras, that's one of the hot topics here around where I'm talking, where I live. And what I think, people don't understand is, even though, today's, John Q local government guy may have, the best of intentions of using flock cameras to, find criminals who are, committing crimes and everything. That's not to say that, the next guy is going to be using things for altruistic purposes. So we should never let our local governments, state governments, federal governments use surveillance where it can be used in a nefarious way in the future, because more often than not it will.
I agree. Nate, to you. Is security being used to justify permanent overreach?
I don't even think they're trying to justify it. They're just doing it. But yes, surveillance is constantly being used for government overreach. Anytime they will find or create a scenario to justify the overreach or to justify their surveillance. And they may have the best intentions. MAGA may have the best intentions. Democrats may have the best intentions. But once the power vacuum shifts, all that power is still there. It's just in somebody else's hands.
Totally agree. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Share this out again if you'd like what you're seeing. Let's jump into the chat. Oh, even more going on in the chat this time. Minus 100 to me for not wearing a suit. You've been outdressed. Yeah, that's 100% true. I'm way underdressed for maybe the first time in the history of the show. 100 to me. He was traumatized by the golden AK. Well, yeah, YouTube traumatized me, but I was jelly of the golden AK, to be truthful. 200 to Paul. The criminal justice system doesn't solve drug problems. Points to Jessi for hitting the nail on Paul's head. Oh, wait. 100 to Paul. All drugs should be legalized. Note, I don't partake, so I don't get high. Oh, we've turned into a musical tonight. 100 to Jessi for black market. Marcus would be proud. Oh, that was a train wreck of a show. 100 to Nathan for his answering Paul's question. Decriminalize, not legalize drugs. 127 to Nate for F drug regulation. Go black and don't go back. Marcus, I mean markets. Oh my God. 200 to Paul. Welfare is designed to keep people trapped. Oh, here we go. Marcus, it's free talking about black. Marcus, yes, we're all talking about you, Marcus. 100 to just spot on the drug answer. 50 for the two-toned beard. That's nice. 100 to Jess for looking the coziest. 200 to Paul. Private charity is a better way to help those who need to get on their feet. Points to Nate. Serious drug answer. Seriously. Is Paul wearing a white shirt or dressed like a priest? 50 points either way. 200 to Jessi. Welfare should be private and local. Points to Paul. Welfare replace charity. 100 to Paul. Charity, church, drug addiction fight is more effective. 100 to Nate for finally smiling. Oh, that was nice. 100 to Nate, private solutions pertaining to welfare. Points to Jess, our church is constantly overstocked on food. Minus 13 to Paul, break the gun laws, become ungovernable. Points to Jessi for decentralization. Minus to Paul, RE traveling and state gun laws. Free men don't ask permission. There's a meme about that. Points to Paul, his answer was so based, I had to reset X. 178 to Jessi, based gun rights are natural rights. Points to Jessi, the right to defend ourselves doesn't come from the government. It's a natural right. Points to Jessi, inherent rights. Points to Jessi, 2A shall not be infringed. Minus 200 to Paul for reading the local gun laws. Another minus 200 for complying. 200 to Nate, all gun laws are infringements.
I just want to know if I'm doing a felony or a misdemeanor when I'm somewhere.
Well, I'm keeping score tonight, so you're screwed. But I forgot to subtract 20 from Nate for pronouncing Iran as Iran. 100 to Nate for having the least amount of food in his beard. Congratulations on that. 200. I think Jessi might have less. I don't know what we're talking about now. Points to Paul, abolish the property tax. 100 to Jess. I had the U.S. Congressional District 15, not the state. My bad. I'm not high. Google is. Points to Jessi for sensible tax elimination plan. Points to Jessi for darkening the skies when she leans into the camera. Hashtag ominous. 100 to Nate for county commissioning. 100 to Jessi for understanding compression and its impact on ISDs. Points to Jessi for the hoop earrings. Points to Jessi. May I call you Jess and not Jessi? It saves me a keystroke when awarding points. There we go. Points to Paul, abolish legalized theft. Points to Paul, theft, aka civil asset forfeiture, abolished. Minus 10 points from Nate for having the longest name for me to type and award points to. Can I call you Nate? It's literally in his name. 200 to Jessi for calisthenics in taxes, compression. All right. Points to Jessi for restitution. Points to Nate, good answer, but I was refreshing my drink, so I can't remember what he said. Points to Paul for his 4-letter name. Quick, simple to award points to. Now we're all about lazy typing and stuff in your beard. Points to Jess for letting me keep my 20 ounce of shampoo before an official conviction. Hashtag TSA. 100 points to Paul's forehead, making it impossible for the camera to adjust to his light settings. Points to Jessi for taking out flock cameras. Points to Paul for having 2 rubber mallets in his background. I don't think they are hammers. Pound the gavel if I'm out of order. Oh, here we go.
Okay. Yeah, 2 gavels.
There we go.
My county gavel and another gavel I use for other meetings.
We're interactive now. All of the vice chair mallets are on the show tonight. All right. And points to Paul for the forethought of the surveillance state. I meant Nate. Points to Jess. Nefarious use of power is wrong, especially by the government. And points to Nate. Surveillance is never justified. That was a lot to read. All right. Little flip-flop here. Jessi in the lead, 51-39. Paul, 48-48. Nate just behind, 44-99. All right. Last round of lightning round. Here we go. Paul, to you, the category is inflation is the hidden tax. Does government spending directly cause inflation?
Yes, because by necessity, they're going to be inflating the money supply as they create money out of nowhere to fund that spending that goes on. So as they do so, that's of course going to increase inflation, and that's why we need to decrease government spending, among many other great reasons.
Excellent. Jessi, to you, are voters misled about the causes of inflation?
Every day. So I think with the everyday voters, they think of inflation as something that is done by the Federal Reserve, which is true, but it is also based on the spending and the creating the money out of thin air. So I really don't think that average voter has a good understanding of inflation's causes.
Totally agree. Nate, to you. Should the Federal Reserve have less power?
The Federal Reserve shouldn't exist.
All right. Mic drop. There we go. Categories to you, Paul. Trade wars hit you first. The question is protectionism sustainable long term?
No, it is not. It is inevitably going to cause market distortions, and it's going to make the market fail long run by all the distortions that you're causing. Let the market be.
All right. Jessi, to you. Should free trade be the default policy?
Absolutely. There is no better policy than free trade policy. Any kind of reforms or regulations are just going to distort the market, let the market do its thing, and everybody's going to be much better off for it.
Totally agree. Nate, to you. Are trade wars driven more by politics than economics?
Yes. Yes and no. Who's running the politics? So you're looking at the oil and gas industry. They are manipulating politics because of economics.
Totally agree. Paul, to you. Category is immigration as a political weapon. Is there a real incentive to solve immigration issues?
Solving immigration issues take actual work and doing their job, which politicians are allergic to. So there's many incentives to them not to. Among that, being able to constantly work towards saying they can solve that issue. The best that they can do is try to treat the very symptoms of it. If they really got together, there are many different ways to solve immigration issues in the long term with freer immigration stances that could be achieved. But they have not even done anything to work towards that.
Definitely. All right, Jessi, to you. Should immigration policy prioritize economics over politics?
Immigration policy, try towards economics over politics. Yeah, I would say we should definitely prioritize economics over politics. I think that it has become increasingly political and people have stopped looking at the economics of things. There is a wealth of data at federal level, state levels that actually show the impacts, negligible economic impacts of immigration. So I think that if we actually looked at things in more of an economic versus political way, that we would be able to see more nuanced dialogue in the political landscape.
Definitely. Somebody's making fun of my responses, so now I have to watch what I'm saying. All right, Nate, to you. Should states have more control over immigration policy?
Immigration is very nuanced. In an ideal society, states would have no say over immigration policy. It would be up to the individual property owners to decide who they want to come onto their land.
Definitely. All right, Paul, to you. The category is power never gives itself back. The question is, does power always seek to expand?
All you have to do is look at the history of our country and how rare it has been for it to contract. So it does not stop expanding without a concerted effort by the people to make that happen and to make extreme immediate change. And if otherwise, it will continue to expand. As suddenly as people that are out of power, that are looking at power as a means to do what they want, they will expand that power to do what they want. There is no incentive for them to decrease it.
For sure. All right, Jessi, to you. Does the government ever voluntarily reduce its own power?
If it has, I haven't seen it. That's one of the reasons that I decided to run for office, is because I constantly, session after session, see legislators get in there that talk about, limited government and small government, and they get in there and all they do is expand government. maybe not even giving themselves their own power, but creating these government agencies and just expanding bureaucracy. One of the things I've said that in my campaign is that whenever I get in, I am not going to create bills that that create anything. My bills will be to abolish things. We're pulling back. We are decreasing, not increasing.
I love it. All right, Nate, to you. Is decentralization the only way to reduce power?
Is it the only way to reduce power? No. I mean, our forefathers taught us there was another way to reduce power. But without going to war and acts of violence, then yes, decentralization would probably be the easiest way and the fastest approach.
Nice nuanced answer. Like, Paul, to you, the category is temporary always becomes permanent. Do temporary policies almost always become permanent?
There's nothing more permanent than something that's temporary put into place and kind of sort of maybe works or is even in some cases is failing, but is not as apparent as it should be. That becomes permanent. That's a thing that just happens. And with policies, how many times have we seen temporary policies that have just gone on forever? Or even things that have been just passed temporarily for specific situations. Going back to the war at the beginning, talked about war. We had those authorizations of military force that were passed like 20 years ago, 50 years ago. And those were temporary for a specific situation. And they're still on the books, still continuing. If those can exist for that long, what's the chance of anything else being brought back and reduced and stopped?
Not good. Jessi, to you. Should renewing a policy require a higher standard than passing it?
I don't know if it should be a higher standard than passing. I think there should be a pretty high standard for passing anything that's going to expand government. But to the extent that we are doing anything like, for example, like, emergency powers, during disaster recovery. That was one of the big things that happened here in Texas, that Abbott just kept renewing the emergency powers that had been granted to him long after there was no disaster actively in place. So yeah, to the extent that something has been passed and needs to be renewed, I would say that would need to have a much higher threshold for that to be passed. And it should not be something that the governor can just arbitrarily pass. It should go back to the legislative body who passed it in the first place.
Yeah, I think I read that there's dozens of emergencies going on at all times or something. It's a crazy number. Yeah. Nate, to you. Are temporary measures the easiest way to grow government?
Well, as Paul alluded to earlier, temporary measures are never really temporary, they're permanent. So by that frame, yes, if you have a lower threshold to create a temporary body, temporary Band-Aid, then it will become permanent through temperancy. Words.
All right, we'll end it on that with enter your scores in the chat. And let's see how that worked out. Jumping back into the chat here. Points to Jess, decentralize everything. Points to Paul for being a drummer. I thought inflation was only for balloons and other sealed air containers. What's up, Drop the Mask? 100 to Nathan and the Fed. 200 to Paul, let the market be. Points to Paul for the free market. Points to Jess, inflation isn't natural in our economy. Voter doesn't understand its origin. Points to Jessi for free trade. Points to Nate for the nuanced trade answer. Points to Nate, well said, the Federal Reserve shouldn't exist. Points to Paul, politicians are allergic to doing their jobs. Minus 100 to everyone who had free say totally agree after their answer. I never did that, Marcus, so nobody loses points. Points to all the panelists. That's better, Marcus. Be nice to everybody. Points to Jessi for handling the trick question with poise. Points to Nate. Nice golden pocket protector. It matches Paul's golden background. Points to Nate for wanting to abolish the Federal Reserve. Points to Jess. The National Academy of Sciences did the most extensive research on immigration and found it had a net positive effect on our economy. Points to Jess. Yes, prioritize econ over poly. Excuse my abbreviations. Points to Nate for no state power over immigration. Points to Nate for taking the Fed's power to zero, not just a reduction. Points to Nate for private property immigration policy. Points to Jessi for creating bills to abolish and decrease. Points to Nate. He has a brilliant mind. He thinks before he speaks. I need that gene or brilliance. Points to Jessi for channeling Barry Goldwater. My goal is to not pass laws, but to repeal them. 200 nuance points to Nate, Tree of Liberty. Points to Jess. I should move to her district and vote for her. That'd be cool. Points to Paul. There's nothing more permanent than a temporary government policy. Points to Paul for his kind of maybe sometimes never answer. Points to Jessi for renewal, reform, and legislative body input. Points to Nate for the very confident answer. Points to Nate for creating a new word for free to pronounce, temperancy. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Points to Jess for having Free's 90s haircut. Oh, boy. Points to Jess, high standard to add anything or policy or law in government. Maybe undo 10 laws for every one new law. Points to Paul for being the best dressed. Ooh, that's some strong words. Points to Nate, strong finish in his final answer. Points to Nate for being smart. And points to Paul for not flipping tables yet. All right. We have very low standards here on this show. Ooh, very interesting development here. Nate has jumped out into the lead, 65-74, just points ahead of Paul, 65-48, and Jess is right there, less than 100 points behind, 64-89. Last game of the night. Here we go. This is pick one. All right. Paul, to you, best way to end endless wars: immediate troop withdrawal, gradual drawdown, cut funding for foreign operations, congressional war approval requirement, maintain presence for stability.
I'm just going to go with the immediate troop withdrawal here, just because that's the only way we know for sure those endless wars will be stopping. You could make a point for stability as you do a gradual drawdown, but then there's the temptation to just keep staying there endlessly, much like we did in Afghanistan until we finally left, and that was immediately done. As painful as that can be, getting it done is the most important thing, and getting out of those wars.
Good answer. Jessi, to you, best safeguard against religious targeting: constitutional protections, judicial oversight, local control, transparency, or public accountability.
That's an interesting one. As far as religious targeting goes, we already have laws on the books around that. So my gut would be judicial oversight, because I wouldn't want to be redundant in that. But I also feel like local accountability was a really strong answer too, because nobody can police people as well as the people around you. So I feel like those are both pretty solid answers.
All right. Nate, to you. Best U.S. foreign policy approach: global leadership, selective intervention, defensive alliances only, non-intervention, or full disengagement.
Full disengagement. We shouldn't be involved in any other country.
All right. I like it. Paul, to you. Top priority for immigration policy: border security, economic needs, humanitarian protection, rule of law, or individual liberty.
If you go with the individual liberty and look at everybody involved, it's going to lead you to the best answers all around. If you're protecting the liberty of the property owners there, you're going to be providing some security individually for those property owners that are along those areas there. And if you're protecting the liberty of individuals to freely move and to be able to participate and work, you're going to be protecting those individuals' liberty. So liberty is the answer on every level.
I like it. Jessi, to you. Best replacement for property taxes: sales tax, income tax, consumption tax, user fees, or no replacement.
I would say no replacement, but I also don't live in Ancapistan, and so there are certain things that have to be funded. So I think that if we ever got to that point, I would prefer a sales tax. But my number one answer, picking one, would be to abolish and replace it with nothing.
All right. Nate, to you. Biggest cost of tariffs, higher prices, trade retaliation, economic slowdown, supply chain issues, or minimal cost?
As a consumer, the biggest cost of tariffs is going to be the high cost to consumers.
Want to tell us why?
Sure. So everything is just downstream. So tariffs make the sellers' prices go up. They just pass the cost on to the consumer. So everything's going to be more expensive. There is a supply chain aspect of it as well, where that's also being impacted. But again, all of that's ending up as a higher cost to the consumer.
Definitely. All right, Paul, to you. Best way to reduce the national debt: cut spending, raise taxes, grow the economy, inflationary policy, or do nothing?
Cut spending. The only way we're going to get out of this is cutting spending here. You can't just inflate your way out of it. You can try to grow the economy, but if you keep on spending, no matter what growth you're going to do, it's going to outpace that. So you just need to cut spending.
That'd be nice. Jessi, to you. Best model for immigration reform: merit-based, points-based, family-based system, open immigration with limits, or free movement?
I favor more of a Ellis Island model. So where I do believe very strongly in free movement. I also believe that there needs to be at least some minimal checks and balances, and being able to check Interpol lists of violence in other countries, quick checks just to make sure that there's no infectious diseases that are being brought in, and making sure that we may effectively quarantine someone for a period of time if they were going to come into the country. So I would say open with limits based on those very specific items, in terms of criminal activity or infectious disease.
Excellent. Nate, to you. Best welfare model: federal programs, state programs, local programs, private charity, or mixed system?
Easy answer: private charity. Already discussed earlier that the government has no business in welfare systems, so that needs to be done with the private, either via churches, nonprofits. Just keep it private.
Definitely. All right, Paul, to you. Best property tax reform: cap increases, lower rates, replace with consumption tax, local control, or eliminate entirely?
Eliminate entirely. Figure out how you're going to fund things otherwise. There's many different options there, but I don't trust saying, oh, I'm going to replace it with something else, and then you end up with both. So eliminate, figure it out from there.
Yeah, they did that to us with the tariffs, where they said they were going to replace income taxes, and we got tariffs and income taxes.
100%.
Right.
But in other places where they said they're going to replace it with income taxes, and then you end up with high income taxes and high property taxes. Worst of both worlds.
Yep. Jessi, to you. Biggest benefit of drug legalization: reduced crime, tax revenue, personal freedom, medical access, or law enforcement focus?
I'm going to say personal freedom. I think that, cognitive liberty is individual liberty. I have the power over my own self. I am sovereign over myself. And if I choose to expand my mind in ways that maybe others may not like for themselves, that's really none of their business. And it's certainly not any of the government's business.
Definitely. All right, Nate, to you. Best way to power data centers: private investment, government planning, public-private partnerships, or local control or market only?
I see private investment in market only as being very similar, though private investment can have foreign government or just government subsidies applied to it. Market only would be my approach to that. Let the market decide. It needs to be a free market. Keep the government out of it.
Definitely. All right, last 3 questions of the night. First one to you, Paul. Best way to handle firearm ownership: licensing system, background checks, open access, state-based rules, or no restrictions?
Shall not be infringed. No restrictions shall not be infringed.
All right, your mic drop moment of the night. There we go. Jessi, to you. Best reform for asset forfeiture: require conviction, end forfeiture entirely, redirect funds away from police, increase transparency, or maintain current system?
Require conviction, because I do believe that there should be a forfeiture if there needs to be restitution to the victim.
Great. All right, Nate, to you. Biggest driver of endless wars: defense contractors, political incentives, global alliances, intelligence agencies, or economic interests?
Can I choose all of the above?
That would be against the game.
Dang it. Can you put those back up?
Of course. Defense
biggest
contractors, political incentives, global alliances, intelligence agencies, or economic interests?
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on here and go with global alliances. Israel's a big one right now for endless wars. They say jump and we say how high.
Yeah, very true. All right. Enter your scores in the chat. Share this out one more time. Tell us who you think won. Tell us what you thought of the show. Let's jump into the chat one last time here. 40 to Paul for troop withdrawal. Minus 50 to Paul for giving us a Larry Sharp style elaboration. 100 to all, good panel. Minus 40 to Jessi for not picking one. I knew that was coming. Points to Paul, no real good answer here. Immediate withdrawal is the option on that list. 208 full disengagement. Minus 5 to Jessi for picking 2 when the game is pick 1. Are these repeating? 100 to Jess, judicial oversight. Minus 50 to Paul for picking 1 while explaining the rest to us again. I like that, though. I like hearing why they're all bad. 50 to Nate for disengagement of foreign involvement. 50 to Jessi, no replacement. 100 to Paul, correct, side on individual liberty. 50 to Nathan for higher prices. Minus 13 to Jessi for not living in Ancapistan. Come on in, the water is fine. Yeah, but she's running for office. So 100 to Nate, high cost equals correct answer. Points to Paul for cutting spending. 30 to Paul for cutting spending. 100 to Jessi, abolish property tax and replace with nothing. Points to Jessi for Ellis Island model. Points to Jessi for reopening Ellis Island. 80 to Nate, private charity. 60 to Jessi, personal freedom. 100 to Jessi, government can stay out of my business. Points to Paul, shall not be infringed. Points to Nate, market only or no data centers in my backyard. Marcus has got Israel. Minus 100 to Nate, it's pick 1, Broseph. 200 to Nate, my kids aren't dying for Israel. Mine neither. 50 to Paul, no gun restrictions. Nate gets 100. All of the above was the correct answer, but the government won't let you answer freely. It was a game. It was a game. See y'all in Abilene. Great show. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Abilene. It's going to be so much fun. 100 to everyone. Amazing panelists tonight. All right. Let's check the scores one last time. And let's see. Can I find the drum roll fast enough? I don't think I can. Oh, here we go. I found it. Paul with the win, 76-68, just ahead of Jessi and just ahead of Nate. Really, really close scores. I think everybody enjoyed it tonight. Nate, you had the lead for a little bit, and then you ended up in third. What'd you think tonight, brother?
It was great. I had fun. I blame Ryan Woodcraft for that one since he gave me a minus 100 points there. Which means I get
Oh,
another
yeah,
100 points because I mentioned his
You
name.
mentioned it. Yeah.
Should have gone with that strategy a little earlier, I think.
Yep.
Plug yourself and plug the convention, please.
So my name is Nathan Polsky. I'm running for county commissioner in Lamar County, precinct 2. My website is nathanforliberty.com. You can find me on X, Texas ANCAP, or Polsky for Lamar, either one. And yes, the Texas State Convention is in Abilene on April 10th through the 12th. On Friday, we're going to have outdoor events. We're going to have axe throwing, jelly ball, dunk booth. Sorry for not mentioning that earlier. All of that's going to be free. We're going to have food, refreshments that you can purchase. We're also going to have great speaker. Mary Ruart is going to be there Friday evening. We're going to be doing a live Are You Smarter Than a Politician with some of our we have our gubernatorial candidate plus 2 of our senatorial candidates. So that should be very interesting. And then we have a karaoke free late night on Friday. And then we have some great stuff planned for Saturday and Sunday. So I hope you can all come out. All the rooms are, I think, already booked. I think we own the hotel. So reach out if you are interested in coming and have not booked a room, or if you need just some advice on where to go nearby. You can see the convention website, 2026.lptexas.org.
Excellent. And like Nate said, you can follow him on X at Polsky for Lamar or at Texas ANCAP. His campaign website is nathanforliberty.com. Throw him a few bucks. He's a smart guy, and we loved having him on the show. Help him get his campaign off the ground. Really appreciate having you, brother. Looking forward to meeting you in Abilene in person. Appreciate this. Second place went to Jessi. How are you feeling about second place, Jessi?
I'm feeling all right. It was a good game.
Excellent. Plug yourself and your campaign and everything, please.
Sure. So I'm currently the vice chair of the Libertarian Party of Texas. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing everyone in Abilene for the Texas Convention too. I may be biased, but I feel like we do a pretty darn good convention in Texas, and this year is going to be no example. Stop by and see me. I am chair of the Credentials Committee. So if you are going to be a delegate to the Texas Convention, you will need to stop by and see me and my committee to get all of your credentialing. Also, Nathan mentioned the karaoke event that's going to be happening. I'm going to be working that karaoke event with our gubernatorial candidate, Mr. Pat Dixon. So a couple of places where you can stop by and see me. As far as me as a candidate, again, my name is Jessi Cowart. I'm running for Texas House District 15, and that is in southern Montgomery County, which is a northern suburb of Houston metropolitan area. You can find my campaign website at www.cowartfortexas.com. Would love for you to stop by my website, share some feedback with me, and I look forward to seeing some of you in Abilene or on the campaign trail.
Awesome. And like Jessi said, her website is cowartfortexas.com. You can find her on X at Jessi Cowart TX. And we loved having you. Good luck in your race. Throw her a few bucks. Help her get her campaign going as well. Sounds like you're doing awesome stuff. And I look forward to seeing you in Texas as well.
Thanks.
And Paul Darr, you came in first place, brother. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that was a pretty darn close race. And that was pretty fun to have all those here. There was no reason to flip a table this time around because there's some great folks that we had here tonight. And we'll all see each other out in Abilene. And once again, if you didn't get your the information about where the convention is and all that, go to 2026.lptexas.org. If you right now, I'm running from being vice chair of the LNC to be vice chair of LP Texas to take Jessi's job there, since she wants to switch it up, and I want to switch it up too to come back to Texas. So you can find out more about that at paulfortexas.darr.org. Got a basic website up there about some of the priorities there. And if National Convention is coming up right around the corner, if you haven't had a chance to go check that out, you can find the website at lnc2026.com. Right now, we have a bunch of great speakers up on there. Some very interesting mix of speakers that are going to be at convention. We're going to have Ammon Bundy. We're going to have Sheena Mead, Ford Fisher, Joel Salatin, Justin Amash, Libertarian Party of Canada, Libertarian Party of Russia, Lynn Ulbricht, Scott Horton, Libertarian Party of Angola. So there's going to be and there's some more that we're just going to squeeze in there somehow. I'm not sure how we're going to jam this all in, but we're going to make it work. So it's going to be a great event out there. We do have the agenda up there for everybody that's been asking. That's still a bit of a draft. So some of those times are subject to slight tweaks and changes there. And as we have karaoke out there in Texas, we're also going to bring our Texas karaoke out to the national convention on the agenda there. I believe that's going to go on Friday night. So hope to see you all. Those in Texas out at the Texas convention, and anyone that can't make it out there out at the Libertarian Party convention. And if you aren't a Libertarian, you can member of the Libertarian Party, National Party. You can go to lp.org/Darr donor, and you can donate there and get a nice call from me. Join as a member. $25 is all it takes. I'll give you a call. Thank you for your donation to the party. Thank you.
Awesome. And you can follow Paul on X, Paul_Darr, and his website is paulfortexas.darr.org. And once again, brother, you do an amazing job. I don't think anybody realizes you're one of the hardest working people in the party. You do an amazing amount of work. You're tireless in your efforts, and you're a huge inspiration to all the rest of us that are boots on the ground out here, man. Really appreciate you. And really looking forward to Texas and to the national convention. That's going to be so much fun. Let me add Terry back in here. Terry, what'd you think tonight?
My gosh. Okay, so Ryan Woodcraft says that I'm a little bit prejudiced, but wow. Texas libertarians are just fire, you guys. I'm sorry. They're just freaking fire. I loved all of you guys. You did an amazing job. And I would like to also just real quickly apologize to the chat. I was unable to communicate with you for the whole last half of the show. So sorry about that, but I did catch all of your like typing and no, I meant this person. No, I meant that person. We got it all. I just wanted you guys to know that. You want the next lineup? What happened? What happened, guys?
Not sure.
Freeze muted.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It was me. It was me.
Oh,
Yes,
it was
please,
you.
Terry.
Yeah, it was you hitting the wrong buttons, not me. Okay, good. So, Free and Amity will be at North Carolina for their 50th anniversary convention in the beautiful Lake Lure, North Carolina area, which is my old stomping grounds. And they have Travis Grip, who is currently the president of the Better Ballot North Carolina organization, Brad Hessel, the 2026 Libertarian Party candidate for North Carolina Senate, District 18, and Rob Yates, who is candidate for chair of the Libertarian Party 2026. And that should be exciting too. But yeah, I do think I do have a little special place for Texas there. Not moving there though.
And you can follow me and Terry on X. I am Smarter Game Show. She is Bats T76. You can get our swag at freedomsuperstore.com. We've got shirts and mugs. The shorts for this will be up on YouTube at Freedom Uncut. And thanks again to Zoom for sponsoring the show. You can find their tasty stuff at zoomtrip.com, XUMTRIP.com. And like Terry mentioned, we'll be in North Carolina this weekend, Texas and Colorado in April, and then the national convention in May. Thank you again to all of our subscribers. And you can subscribe to us on X if you want to be added to that list. That's your backstage pass. And sponsor the show by emailing studio@freedomuncut.com. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat. You guys were fire tonight. Some new friends in there. That was awesome. And we will see you live from North Carolina, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time Friday. And appreciate you all. Peace out.